What is going on, guys? Today we got a very special shipment in from Sweetwater. Now, you all can read the title of the video, and if you want to skip right ahead to all the unboxing or the sound test or right to my final thoughts, I have all the time codes listed below. Now, I own a handful of artist signature instruments. I own a Tom DeLonge signature Strat, the old Tim Henson Ibanez, a Troy Sanders bass, a couple of the Dustin Kensrue signatures, and a few others. I don't really get the concept of purchasing artist models because of the artists themselves. Buying a Tim Henson guitar did not get me any closer to being able to actually play a Polyphia song. Something I've discovered when purchasing artist models is that they're usually configured with the practicality of a gigging musician in mind, which is exactly what I look for. So I sing and play guitar in my band. So when I buy guitars, I kind of classify them into two different camps. I have some studio-focused instruments with more bells and whistles and tonal options, and I have my live workhorse guitars, which are more built for reliability, simplicity, and comfort. So why do I bring any of this up? So a couple months ago, ESP dropped their brand new lineup of artist signature series for 2025. And one of the instruments that caught my eye was the Caleb Shomo signature. For those who are unfamiliar with his work, Caleb's the singer and writer for the band Beartooth, as well as previously playing keyboards and singing on a couple albums in the band Attack Attack. The guy is so incredibly talented, and he really doesn't get brought up enough when we discuss the killer rock songwriters in that post-nu metal era. So I've been a fan of his for a long time now, but I really wouldn't classify him as a traditional shredder like Tim Henson, Steve Vai, John Five, or Paul Gilbert. When I think of Caleb, I think of his songwriting, musicianship, and his no BS guitar riffs, and that's the first thing that comes to mind. Even though he's mostly known as the singer of Beartooth, he writes, records all the instruments, he does all his own production, as well as the mixing and mastering. All right, so that's enough babbling. I've been dying to open this thing up all day, so let's go ahead and take a look. All right, we got a very nice guitar case. This is supposed to be fitted as well too, so I'm super excited to see. And we have the big unveiling. I'm so excited to see this thing. And ta-da, oh my gosh. Wow, the top on that is incredible. Got a little protective styrofoam thing here. We have the Sweetwater inspection, which is great. Glad they took a look at it. All right, let's just take a look real quick. Let's start at the headstock. ESP LTD. Got the CS2 as the model of the instrument, and we should have locking tuners here, and we do. Perfect. We got the block inlays, which just look beautiful. I've always been a big fan of block inlays versus a lot of the traditional dot inlays that are kind of more minimalist. We got the gold hardware pickups, hardtail. I love this. Love these types of bridges. Yeah, one single volume knob. We have the pickup selector, which is great. And I believe, yes, this is a coil tap. So we can get this into a single coil type sound. All right, let's pull around and take a look. Wow. Just the top on that is incredible. I don't know if it's gonna come through on the video, but it's just beautiful in person to look at. And there's actually black binding around the sides, which will make it pop a bit more on stage. Let's take a look at the case itself. So this is a form-fitted foam case, which is great. Sometimes these more offset, larger bodies have trouble fitting in traditional cases. So I always prefer when they have a custom fit one. We have, which looks like to be all the hardware, a couple stickers. I think it's their, what is their 50th anniversary? Yeah, for a lot of the artist signatures they're doing, but I think they threw in some promotional stuff for that. Excellent, beautiful case. Let's get this guitar on the bench. I want to get it strung up with my strings. I use elixirs, I think 10 through 46. What do I use? We're gonna be using these guys, the 9 through 46 custom lights. So let's get these on here. And we're also gonna throw on my guitar strap, which is cool. So I wanna check the neck dive on this. Wow, so right away, this is like a no BS rock guitar. You get a very versatile pickups in my favorite configuration. You have a mid-output bridge humbucker pickup and a buttery smooth telly-style neck pickup. Along with that, you get a single volume knob with a coil tap, a three-way pickup selector, jumbo stainless steel frets, and locking tuners. Everything you need, not a single thing more. So let's take a look at the pickups. We have a T-style STR 3/4 pounder single coil pickup in the neck and a custom 14 humbucker in the bridge. They're a little bit more lower output. I think as Caleb described them, it's similar like the AC/DC sound where it's lower output pickups through the high gain amps is like their kind of tone. No Evertune, no tone knob, no active electronics, no USB ports, no replacing batteries, no 9-way pickup selector, and no extra fat on this thing. As someone with hundreds of gigs under their belt, the more crap you have, the more that can go wrong, and if something can go wrong on stage, it will go wrong. So my personal go-to guitar for live is usually my single pickup Tom DeLonge Strat. I love the simplicity of these workhorse instruments. When you're singing, playing guitar, and simultaneously trying to put on a performance for the audience, the last thing you want to worry about is a million knobs and switches and extra weight getting in the way. When I'm performing, I want to feel like I'm connecting with the crowd, as opposed to piloting an airplane. I prefer to keep all those bells and whistles at home in the studio. Some people might be turned off by the tone knob missing, but if I want any EQing done on the way in, I'll let my pedal board handle it, so I'm personally not missing anything at all. Something I do look for when it comes to a live instrument is how it looks. Listen, I could sit here and tell you all day that nobody cares about aesthetics, wood tops, and finishes and all that stuff, but I'd be lying to you. Cool looking guitars just slap, and that ain't going anywhere. The wood grain is fantastic with the quilted maple top, the black binding makes it pop a bit more, and the block inlays are just rad. I think if you combine that with the gold pickups, this thing is just going to turn some heads when you pull it out of the case. Like I said, speaking of which, this instrument comes with a fitted hardshell case, so bonus points. So that being said, none of that matters if it sounds like crap, so let's hear how it sounds. Love it already. Yeah, I can tell the pickups aren't as hot as like something like my Fishman Fluids instruments. The overall way it feels, if you haven't played like a Thunderbird or I guess this model is kind of based around, it's called the Phoenix. These guitars, like I said, have a little bit of a neck dive. Also, sometimes you can find like when you're sitting, they may not feel as comfortable. I don't have an issue with it. It'll sometimes feel like your left hand's kind of a little bit far away from you. I think so, like versus some people that keep their guitar a little bit more over like this. When you're standing, it's not really a big issue, but I would definitely suggest like trying out this style guitar and see if it's like something you even like. So far the setup's actually felt really good on it. I don't really have to adjust anything out of the box. Normally there's like a pretty long process of just getting the action, everything right. I think whoever does the QC over at ESP did a really good job for setting it up. I don't know if like Sweetwater did it too when they sent it, if they do like the inspections, but it's in great shape. It sounds awesome. So now although the body itself is a bit larger with that Thunderbird style Phoenix shape, the instrument is still pretty light. I think this exact instrument weighs in at 7 pounds, 9 ounces, which is about a whole pound lighter than a traditional Les Paul Studio. And just a heads up, when I was deciding between the exact serial number I wanted, I did see some of the instruments in that 8 pound range. So depending on like the density or moisture in the wood, you might get a heavier model, you might get a lighter one, but I think they're kind of all around that like kind of high 7, like 8 pound range. So for how much body is on this guitar, it's actually very light. Also, too, like I said, the Thunderbird style guitars are notorious for the neck dive. The strap I use is normally one of like those seatbelt material DiMarzio straps. So not terrible, but a bit. So yeah, not the worst neck dive I've had in a guitar, but it's definitely something where you'll probably feel it a bit, especially if you're doing like longer gigs, like if you're doing a 3-hour cover set, you'll probably feel it a little bit. But I think that's like part of the nature when you get a guitar like this or an SG, you expect to have that neck dive a bit. All right, let's talk about the frets a little bit. So the edges feel incredible. They're super smooth, super rounded. I'm not feeling any sprouting or anything. The only guitar I've played that I own that has better fret edging was actually my Tim Henson Ibanez. So props to ESP for great work on this. I believe these are the extra jumbo stainless steel, which I love. I honestly avoid guitars without stainless steel frets as often as I can, just because I don't like getting any nicks or damage on it. Love that. All right, so here we are. We have guitar all plugged in, tuned up. This is in drop D right now, since we're in a little bit more rock riffs and things like that. For my tones, I am using the Neural Fortin Nameless Suite. Probably going to use that for a lot of the more distorted tones, and then maybe for more of the clean tones, we'll hop over to the Morgan Amp Suite, which I tend to gravitate towards. So let's see how it sounds. Let's start with the bridge pickup, just some general, just kind of rock sounds, no delay, no reverb, just chug it up. Wow, that's got snarl to it. Super throaty, which I like. Love that in a bridge pickup. Seems like it Cuts a lot through. It doesn't sound too muddy. Like Caleb mentioned in one of his videos, this guitar definitely has a lower output pickup, and then you're having your amp or your foot controller, whatever you're doing, is doing a little bit more of the work on that. And I actually kind of like the tone of that. One of my favorite guitars to use live is one of the Tim Henson guitars, and it was his THBB10, which has the mini humbucker, and I think that was just like the perfect amount of bite. It cleans up really well. Personally, I think these sound fantastic. They have a lot of clarity to them. The dynamics feel really, really nice on them. Definitely something that'll sound great live. It'll clean up well, which is like really what I'm looking for. I've been gigging the past couple shows with a guitar that has the Fishman Fluence Moderns in it, and they're great pickups for, I think, when you're doing like rock or when I'm recording live, since I play like a mix of everything from classic rock sounding stuff to modern stuff. It's kind of nice having a little bit of versatility in the pickup. So this is something I'm very excited to get on stage with. Wow. All right. Yeah. So that's that is the bridge pickup, just kind of like dirty. Let's go ahead and try the neck out a bit. And I'm actually going to turn on some delay and reverb and just kind of hear how that sounds on like some leady style stuff. That's smooth. Love that. Yeah, that sounds great. It actually cleans up, even using like a pretty distorted tone. It feels like the neck cleans up a bit, which I like. Cool. So let's move over, maybe try out some clean tones. Cool. Like I said too, for the clean tones, I definitely prefer the Morgan stuff. It sounds fantastic. Let's do some of the coil tapped bridge. I'm actually excited for that. Spanky. Let's try that middle pickup. All right, let's head over to the neck. Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Perfect. Yeah, definitely a very diverse instrument. I feel like you can, like, for as much as I really harp on the aspects of having a guitar that's great for live, this is something no issue to bring into the studio at all. You can get a lot of diversity between these two sets of pickups, which is great. That's absolutely something I'd be looking for in an instrument. So my final thoughts. This guitar is absolutely stunning to look at and to play. The setup, fit, and finish is second to none. The configuration is exactly what I look for in an instrument. But it's also flexible enough for the studio, so I think you could use this for live or the studio. To me, this is definitely something I'm going to be playing a whole lot this year. Super excited just to get like more hands-on with it and get some shows under the belt with it. Now, onto the downsides. I do think this guitar is a bit overpriced for the specs. I'd expect this guitar to run about $1,200 to maybe like $1,400 at most, and this clocks in at $1,800 pre-tax. This price range, I'd be expecting like Fishman Fluence pickup upcharges, maybe an Evertune, a piezo bridge, or more features. I keep thinking these pretty simple configurations around like $1,200 at price point would get more people to jump at them. To all these guitar manufacturers, there is a massive market for some stripped back simple instruments with great build quality. I know a ton of musicians who just want a reliable workhorse guitar without having to sell a kidney. So many working musicians want locking tuners and stainless steel frets without having to pay for the other bells and whistles they may not be looking for. Just for comparison, so the base Phoenix 201, which I believe is like the entry model on this like body type for the ESP LTD series, is under $600, and I refuse to believe that the extra neck pickup, the stainless steel frets, the case, the locking tuners, and the aesthetics warrants a $1,200 upcharge. You can literally buy 3 of the 201s for less than one of these. The neck dive is definitely an issue with these shaped guitars. It's no secret that these models are known for the neck dive. You can work around it with counterweights or strap material, which helps. I personally keep my wireless and IE impacts on my straps, so that actually helps offset it a good bit. So that might be my biggest technical complaint, actually. Overall, this is a fantastic feeling instrument. I know I harped on the price a lot, but I really don't have any complaints on the instrument itself. So what do you think? Did this disgusting Beartooth behemoth of a guitar get your attention? Or are you just kind of in between on it? Or do you have a problem with the price? Maybe the surface price point makes you feel like you are caught in a riptide. Maybe all of my Beartooth puns have me being hated for who I am. Let me know down in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video.